Nicky nodded absently as she leaned close, groping purposefully across Richard's chest. He cried out, arching his back against the heavy wooden tabletop, trying to twist away from her probing fingers. The other woman immediately pressed his shoulders down to keep him in place. He tried to speak. He almost got the words out, but then he coughed up a mouthful of thick blood. He started choking as he tried to breathe. The woman holding his shoulders turned his head aside. "Spit," she told him as she bent close. The feeling of not being able to get any air brought a flash of hot fear. Richard did as she said. She swept her fingers through his mouth, working to clear an airway. With her help, he finally managed to cough and spit out enough blood to be able to pull in some of the air he so desperately needed. As Nicky's fingers probed the area around the arrow jutting from the left side of his chest, she cursed under her breath. "Dear spirits," she murmured in soft prayer as she tore open his blood-soaked shirt. "Let me be in time." "I was afraid to pull out the arrow," the other woman said. "I didn't know what would happen, didn't know if I should, so I decided I'd better leave it and hope I could find you." "Be thankful you didn't try," Nicky said, her hand slipping under Richard's back as he writhed in pain. "If you'd pulled it out, he'd be dead by now." "But you can heal him?" It sounded more a plea than a question. Nicky didn't answer. "You can heal him." That time the words hissed out through gritted teeth. At the tone of command born of frayed patience, Richard realized that it was Kara. He hadn't had time to tell her before the attack. Surely she would have to know. But if she knew, then why didn't she say? Why didn't she put him at ease? "If it hadn't been for him, we'd have been taken by surprise," said a man standing off to the side. "He saved us all when he waylaid those soldiers sneaking up on us." "You have to help him," another man insisted. Nicky impatiently waved her arm. "All of you get out. This place is small enough as it is. I can't afford the distraction right now. I need some quiet." Lightning flashed again, as if the good spirits intended to deny her what she needed. Thunder boomed with a deep, resonant threat of the storm closing around them. "You'll send Kara out when you know something?" one of the men asked. Yes, go. And make sure there aren't any more soldiers around to surprise us," Kara added. "Keep out of sight in case there are. We can't afford to be discovered here. Not right now." Men swore to do her bidding. Hazy light spilled across a dingy plastered wall when the door opened. As the men departed, their shadows ghosted through the patch of light, like the good spirits themselves abandoning him. On his way by, one of the men briefly touched Richard's shoulder, an offer of comfort and courage. Richard vaguely recognized the face. He hadn't seen these men for quite a while. The thought occurred to him that this was no way to have a reunion. The light vanished as the men pulled the door closed behind themselves, leaving the room in the gloom of light coming from the single window. "Nicky," Kara pressed in a low voice, "you can heal him?" Richard had been on his way to meet up with Nicky when troops sent to put down the uprising against the brutal rule of the Imperial Order had accidentally come upon his secluded camp. His first thought, just before the soldiers had blundered upon him, had been that he had to find Nicky. A spark of hope flared down into the darkness of his frantic worry. Nicky could help him. Now, Richard needed to get her to listen. As she leaned close, her hand sliding around under him, apparently trying to see how close the arrow came to penetrating all the way through his back, Richard managed to clutch her black dress at the shoulder. He saw that his hand glistened with blood. He felt more running back across his face when he coughed. Her blue eyes turned to him. "Everything will be all right, Richard. Lie still." A skein of blonde hair slipped forward over her other shoulder as he tried to pull her closer. "I'm here. Calm down. I won't leave you. Lie still. It's all right. I'm going to help you." Despite how smoothly she covered it, panic lurked in her voice. Despite her reassuring smile, her eyes glistened with tears. He knew then that his wound might very well be beyond her ability to heal. That only made it all the more important that he get her to listen. Richard opened his mouth, trying to speak. He couldn't seem